welcome to Let's Talk AppSecOps. My name is Mark Lambert, Vice President of Products here at ArmorCode, and I'm joined by my good friend, Luis Guzman. How are we doing, Luis?
Doing excellent. Thank you, sir.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do today is let's talk about cloud, right? Let's talk about why we're moving to the cloud, the challenges that it brings, but also the advantages. How does it actually help us really focus from a security perspective, and how do we get our hands around it? So it's a very long topic. I think we'll probably go longer than 5 minutes, but let's keep ourselves tight-ish, even if we just touch the surface, because I do want to bring in Anant Misra, our CTO at ArmorCode, to talk more on this topic in a future podcast. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Cloud. What are you thinking, Luis?
I was thinking of a little song. Doesn't it go like, let's talk about cloud, baby? No, that wasn't it.
No,
back in the 90s. No. Okay. No, but thinking about how we've really pivoted into the cloud in the last 12 years. Right.
Oh, like COVID, man. I mean, that's just pushed every skunkworks cloud project into production overnight.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And having that concept of being able to quickly spin up and spin down resources, right? Being able to have the capability of saying, I need this infrastructure quickly. And you're like, oh, infrastructure is cloud. Boom. Oh, hey, platform as a cloud service, right? So now you have all of these cloud services out there, and nobody's really thinking about how fast we're spinning up and not securing certain parts of it, right? So I think that's huge.
And actually, that to touch upon what I said a moment ago about these skunkwork projects going into production, that's exactly it, right? You've got this little back end project that's going, you're proving out a concept, it's developed well and it's functioning and what have you, and we're now like, all right. Everybody's working from home. We've got to reimagine. We've got to, digitally, become digital companies overnight, and we push all of the cloud stuff forward. But so many people didn't even think about security at that point.
Anybody could get in and out.
Oh, and it's like, secrets. And I mean, secrets analysis was talked about in 2018, 2019, but it's like, it's not a
nobody
thing.
Cares. Yeah,
it's totally a thing now. I think that's a big piece of it, but it does come at an advantage, right? Once we find a problem, we can fix it quick. So there's a pro and a con there.
Theoretically, because now think about how we started this conversation of change management, right? Change management's always been like, cut a ticket, make sure that we find a time in the calendar, and then if it really has to happen, we'll have an emergency changeover. But how long does that take, and why did we develop that back then, and are we developing something automated now? Because if we're not keeping up with anything. We're literally just bringing the old problems from back then to now into the cloud.
Yeah, there has to be a way to facilitate rapid feedback cycles, but then also to automate so many of the processes so that you can really just bring it down to just the thing that needs to be fixed as quickly as possible. I think the traditional approach was really, from my perspective, things weren't as hyper connected as they are now, right? So now and now when something's discovered, you have to react as quickly as possible. Log4j is like the thing that we're all still reeling from, and we don't know what present's going to arrive Christmas in 2022 because something's going to drop.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, how do we respond to that? And the good thing about this rapid release cycles gives us the ability to respond to it. But if we're not careful, it'll just drown us. So yeah.
Well, again, it's going to eat the cycles that you have to do the rest of your operational work. And if you don't have an automated way of doing this quickly and efficiently with the proper semi-automation. I say semi-automation because if you do everything automated, then you don't know that anything's happening. Then again, your visibility is zero, and you're getting change management tickets that are going through no approvals except for auto approvals, and that's not a good way to run a company either.
What's your thinking on automated, fully automated patch rolling out of patches? Because that does come up from time to time, and I must admit I'm a little split on it. Certainly, automated code changes, that to me is like I'm not ready for that yet. But let's say we're we're building a container, there's a jar file in there, let's roll with the latest version. What's kind of your thinking of doing that in a fully automated way?
Fully automated has always been something we want to get to. But just going back into tipping point IPS, right? Way back when I was doing that in 2009, tipping point IPS, everybody talked about having the block allow when you found something, block or allow, right? Or fail open, fail closed,
Yeah.
right? So the concept of traffic moving from the outside to the inside, right? North, south, that was important. But if you were going to stop traffic from east to west, then that would now stop business from doing business. And if you did that in the wrong time, then you would get a phone call. And the first conversation I would always hear when I was talking to a customer, because I did tier 3 support, was the tipping point IPS caused an outage. And I said, well, that's okay. That's pretty heavy. Let's get taken care of this. So we'd go through a series of steps that I had to make sure within 10 minutes, I knew if it was the IPS or not. So even though that doesn't seem like a long time, we still had to go through all these different steps to find out, well, should we fail open or should we fail closed? And if we did, did we allow or block all of this? And now you're thinking, how is this going to affect me making burgers because I'm Burger King?
Yeah, because some core system is out and I'm not able to process, order fulfillment or logistics or you're an airline and all of a sudden, there was a vulnerability identified on the website. So some microservice was automatically patched and now nobody can look up their reservations.
Right. So now auto patching, you're saying, hey, yeah, it should work. On what type of automation scale though?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. It's like, what type? Do you go all the way to 100, all the way to 11?
well, so here's the thing that I hear people. So I'm very much on the fence with this, and I'll give you my where I'm kind of at. So when people talk to me about, well, but if the patch is well adopted and it has good reputation, well, okay. First of all, that you've got a natural delay there because you've got to wait until the patch becomes well adopted and has good reputation. The second thing is, if you don't wait for that, you could potentially bring in a compromised dependency. People talk about software supply chain hacking open source libraries, and if you've got a fully automated process and you move too quick, you might capture a bad thing.
Yep.
But there is a potential solution here, is that if we're leveraging containerized Kubernetes-driven architecture, we can do canary,
canary in the mine shaft.
Blue-green testing, right?
Yep.
In essence, stop pushing out and make sure that we're functionally verified and we're mitigating our risk. We're not fixing the problem and we're not totally closing every hole, but we're mitigating the risk, both from a security perspective, but then also mitigating the risk for our business failure. So I think there's things that we can learn from an SRE, DevOps, software quality perspective. We can also apply from a security perspective as well.
But if we weren't in the cloud, we couldn't move as fast as we do now. So that right there, that is the convenience factor.
And it's you don't have the maintenance, you don't have it's a time to market, it's a reduction in cost. And you know what? This is a great place to stop and pick up with Anant Misra in a future episode. So thanks very much for your time, everybody. Thanks for your time, Luis. Pleasure as always, man. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Look forward to our next episode.
Sounds good. Talk to you. Bye.